All right. I haven't done a video in this channel in 2 weeks? So I have two videos for you. Both dealing with trans issues. One is definitely trans and the other is more trans adjacent. But anyway, let's start with the first article. Oklahoma University instructor suspended for failing students' unscientific anti-trans psychology essay. So we know which class it is. But why is the teacher suspended because the student did an unscientific anti-trans screed? Because, let's face it, this is a psychology class. There is no way, given the evidence that we have and the fact that the American Psychological Association is not anti-trans, they even took it out of the DSM as a condition, a mental health condition, that it's, that gender dysphoria is a condition, but not being trans in and of itself. And how do you cure someone with gender dysphoria? You let them transition. So I'm going to say that that's why it's unscientific, because there is no anti-trans rhetoric that would fly in a psychology class when all the scientific evidence points against it. And for, trans being a thing. And since this is Oklahoma and the instructor got suspended, I'm going to guess that she's a good Christian who somehow brought in the Bible, because apparently in this country, in this time period, Christians can do literally anything and get away with it, because apparently we have to kowtow to their beliefs, even though there's literally nothing in the Bible that says shit about trans people. Okay, so let's get to the article. The University of Oklahoma has placed a trans graduate instructor, the plot thickens, on administrative leave after a student received a 0 on a psychology assignment that described transgender people as demonic and asserted that gender roles are biblically ordained. The dispute has quickly escalated into a statewide political flashpoint. Okay, before I continue, where does it say in the Bible, like I said, shit about trans people, let alone that they're demonic? Where does it say, even remotely, even an implication? And the fact that gender roles are biblically ordained, alrighty then, if gender roles are biblically ordained, what the fuck are you doing in a secondary education institution? Because shouldn't you be at home making babies? I mean, it's amazing that the very people who are screaming the loudest about this don't dare follow the biblically ordained gender roles either. And I bet this woman wears pants too. Actually, did they mention that the student is female? No, I don't believe they did. So I take that back. I can't assume that it's a woman. It could have easily been a stupid man who, thinks that women should serve him or something. Now, one more thing about the biblically ordained gender roles. Um, there are plenty of um places in the Bible where women weren't just, shut up, make me a sandwich type deal. There were a lot of badass women in the Bible, if I recall correctly. So, again, where is it biblically ordained? And actually, what you consider to be gender roles, like boys liking blue, girls liking pink. It used to be pink was the color for boys and blue was the color for girls. Men used to wear skirts, so, that area was hanging, so it was just easier for them because I always wondered how it worked with their balls being in such a confined space. So, yeah, exactly which gender roles are biblically ordained? Because if you look at all the um, depictions of the Bible, the guys weren't exactly wearing tight clothing. They were wearing loose tunics, which some people would consider to be dresses. So again, what are we talking about here? All right, let's keep going. The controversy began when Junior Samantha Fulnecki, okay, so I accidentally was right. It is a woman. And I really, really hope she doesn't wear pants then. Submitted a 650-word reaction paper for a course on how social expectations shape gender. Okay, so why are we bringing the Bible into it when this is about social expectations, not biblical expectations? I mean, if you want to mention, like deep in the Bible Belt, that they are deeply influenced by the Bible, and that's how it shapes gender in your little town, or even within Oklahoma, however you want to phrase it. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say she did not do that. Instead of addressing the assignment's question using data, which, it's a psychology class, so you should be doing that, her essay claimed society is pushing lies about gender. Right. I hope this is Psychology 101 and not a more, a more, a more advanced course, because if that is, what the hell are you doing in psychology if you're going to go against all research? Okay, let's see, where did I? Warned that eliminating strict gender roles would be harmful. Again, I really want to know if this chick wears pants. And described transgender identities as demonic. Them reports. Them is the publication. Screenshots of the essay and instructors' comments were posted by the campus chapter of Turning Point USA. Oh, goody, because we have to continue Charlie Kirk's work of threatening teachers that don't do what they want. On Thanksgiving, right-wing media networks quickly boosted it. And I'm looking at a picture of this chick, and guess what? She's wearing jeans. I'm sorry, where in the Bible was there literally any woman who wore jeans? Hell, men didn't wear pants. Like I said, tunics. Seriously, don't go off about biblically ordained gender roles and wear fucking pants. Seriously. How do you expect people to take you seriously if you're not going to practice what you preach? I mean, what the hell? Graduate teaching assistant Mel Korth, who graded the paper, wrote that the zero was based on academic criteria, not retaliation for the students' religious views. But as we know, in today's society, Christians can get away with anything. All they have to do is whine that they're being persecuted because of their religion, because they're so desperate to be victims. They are so desperate to be persecuted, which is mind-boggling to me. Why are you so desperate to be persecuted? You should be thankful that you do not have to deal with this bullshit. Kurth wrote that the essay does not answer the questions for this assignment, contradicts itself, heavily uses personal ideology over empirical evidence in the scientific class, and is at times offensive. I love it how they put the offensive part at the very end, because there are far better reasons to give this paper a 0 than the offense. Kurth also noted that portraying a marginalized group as demonic is highly offensive, and urged the student to use empirical sources rather than doctrinal statements when critiquing course material. A second instructor, Megan Waldron, independently reviewed the paper and agreed that it did not satisfy the assignment prompt or basic academic writing expectations. So we have two instructors who are saying this is a bunch of drivel. So why is, I don't know, both instructors are being looked into or just the one? But if more than one instructor is agreeing, maybe the problem is with the paper. Just putting it out there. Fulnecki then filed a religious discrimination complaint with the university. Right. Because and I mean this with all seriousness, if you think that the Bible is the end-all be-all to everything, what the fuck are you doing in a class, in a higher education institution, let alone a psychology class? Just go into your little cave and read your little Bible and, I don't know, wait for a caveman to drag you by the hair. I really don't know what you think, how you feel that life is supposed to go if you go to a institution of higher learning and then demand that the Bible be considered a scientific source, because it's not. And again, it doesn't say shit about trans people. So even if it was a scientific source, it isn't here. OU confirmed Sunday in a new public statement that it takes seriously concerns involving First Amendment rights, certainly including religious freedoms. Okay. Yes, you have your First Amendment rights. Your First Amendment rights, it means that you get to interpret data in a class. You do not have you can say that, okay, I'm going to follow the scientific study and do the paper as I'm supposed to, but I don't actually believe it. That's fine. But when you're in a science class, and yes, psychology is a science class, soft science, but still science, you need to do scientific research. This is not a First Amendment issue. If you want to say outside of class, yeah, I'm taking this science class and I have to, say this and that and I don't believe this crap or whatever. I mean, everyone bitches about the teachers or class material. I mean, everybody has a problem with something in just about every class. That's a First Amendment right. And that's even a religious freedom right. But when you're in a science class, you have to use scientific evidence. That has nothing to do with the First Amendment or religious freedom. What the hell? I realize this is Oklahoma, but the hell. All right. The university said it immediately began a full review after receiving the student's complaint, maintained regular communication with the student, and ensured no academic harm resulted from the disputed grade. How about you show that, she didn't do the assignment? Why are we concerned about her academic harm when she didn't do the assignment? This to me ranks up there with and yes, I'm not exactly equating the two, but I'm talking about how bullshit the argument is. This ranks up there with the bullshit argument when a guy rapes a girl, or anyone for that matter, and people are like, oh, but we can't ruin his future. That is the extent of the bullshit argument. That is the level of bullshit that this is. Okay, so she'll be harmed academically. Maybe she should have either done the assignment properly, or better yet, not taken the class. Because again, why are you taking a science class if you're not going to engage in it scientifically? Or go to a religious institution like Liberty, where they would probably let you get away with that bullshit. All right. Where was I? OU also said the student filed a discrimination claim based on religious belief that the review process has been activated and that the graduate instructor was placed on administrative leave to ensure fairness. Ensure fairness of what? Is this like they're just investigating, and after the investigation proves that the graduate student was actually correct, that they'll get their position back? Or is this on administrative leave just to, hope that the blowback goes away and so then they can fire the student for, not letting a Christian do whatever the fuck they want? A full-time professor is now teaching the course for the rest of the semester. Okay, that's fine. I wonder if said full-time professor also would have given her a 0. OU said the instructor will not face academic or financial harm during the review. Okay, well, at least that. On Sunday, Oklahoma Republican Governor Kevin Stitt urged OU's Board of Regents to investigate and warned that students should not be penalized for their religious beliefs in a social media post. Okay, again, this is a science class. It's a social science. It's a soft science, but it's still a science class. So, no, nobody is being singled out for their religious beliefs. Again, if you want to believe that trans people are demonic, go for it. You have every right to do that. You just can't do it in a scientific paper. That's just not how any of this works. His intervention helped transform a grading dispute into a statewide ideological battle over higher education, governance, and LGBTQ plus inclusion. On Monday, the campus chapter of Turning Point USA posted on Instagram that Kurth was placed on leave for blatant discrimination. And framed the grade as punishment for quoting the Bible. Okay, where was the fucking Bible quote? Claiming the university's Sunday statement confirmed its position. Okay. Seriously, how can you read this and still think that Turning Point USA is a good faith organization dedicated to free speech? I mean, come on. Charlie Kirk himself had a database against educators so they could be harassed by Turning Point USA's followers, simply because they actually taught things that wasn't biblical. Again, this is a public university. You don't like it, don't fucking go to a public university. Go to a private university where you can jack off to the Bible all day long. And yes, that's crude and rude, but at this point, I do not care. Because I do not care what you think about the Bible. I don't care if you believe in it. I don't care if you don't believe in it. There is a time and a place for you to bring up the Bible. This is not one of them. Okay, OU has not said when its investigation will conclude. I'm guessing that one of two things will happen. Either they'll wait till people move on and they'll quietly reinstate the graduate student. I still don't know what happened to that second instructor who, agreed with the assessment of the first one. Or they're going to be supreme assholes and, that graduate student will lose his position. Well, their position. So, yeah, I just don't know. So anyway, that is the end of that article. So let's go to the trans adjacent one. And I say trans adjacent because it's also concerning gender roles. And it comes from an unlikely source. And which makes it even more disappointing for me. All right. Ruben Gallegos leaked texts mocking Democrats' looks and masculinity intensified temperament concerns. All right. First-year U.S. Senator Ruben Gallego of Arizona is facing intensified scrutiny after leaked text messages showed the Democrat deriding the appearance of women and men in his own party. The comments mirror far-right rhetoric about gender and deepen concerns about his recent repositioning on LGBTQ+ issues. In the messages first circulated by conservative outlet and reported by People last week, Gallego, who started his first term in the U.S. Senate in January after previously serving in the House, complained that Democrats are not allowing men to be men or women to be hot. Let me just finish the sentence and wrote, "Dem women look like dem men, and dem men look like women." He also lamented that Democrats had become the not fun party and no longer embodied sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Okay, let's just contradict ourselves in the text messages, but first let's go with the first one. Men are not allowed to be men. What the fuck does that even mean? I mean, seriously, what the hell is that supposed to even mean? You are politicians in Congress. What exactly do you mean by men are not allowed to be men? Seriously, I never understood what that meant. Because not all men act alike. I don't know if you noticed, but not all men act alike. I'm very confused. And women to be hot. That's just reinforcing the stupid stereotype that that a woman's only what's the word? That a woman's only asset is to be hot. That women can only be taken seriously if they're also attractive. I have news for you. Not all women are attractive, not all men are attractive. That's just the way it is. That doesn't mean that women should be taken less seriously because they aren't hot. It just means that, not all women are attractive. And then there's also the part about, well, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So just because you don't think a certain woman is hot doesn't mean other men don't. And I've gotten this in my comments as well. This men acting like they speak for all men when they mention something about my looks. Okay, you're not all men. Why would you even assume? Because their ego is that fucking big. They assume that all men act like them. And this is what Ruben Gallego is descending into. Okay. But yes, where the hell are we getting this idea? And oh yes, as far as hot women. Personally, I think AOC is gorgeous. Do I agree with everything that comes out of her mouth? No. But I do know that she is a beautiful woman. And how is she not hot because she says things you don't like? I mean, granted, there are people on the right who, before they open their mouth, I consider them attractive. And then they open their mouth. And nothing but bullshit comes out. Yes, then I can see you, losing your, you're not finding them as attractive anymore. I get that. But, seriously, there is no one in your party you find attractive because what? Because women wear suits? They're not walking around in bikinis? Seriously, where do you... And this man used to be in the House. And now is in the Senate. So it's not like this is something that, oh, I didn't realize women look like this. He knew how politicians dress, male and female. So, and dem women look like dem men, I assume, because they wear suits. And dem men look like women. What? I'm sorry, what? Dem men look like women? Mark Kelly looks like a woman? I mean, I just don't even know where... Now, if this was, him talking to a conservative group trying to make inroads with them, I still wouldn't agree with it, but at least it would make nominal sense. But these are text messages, which I can only assume are to either friends or family or other Dems. I mean, by other Dems, I mean in the party. So why? Why would you say that? And it's no longer the fun party, no longer embodied sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Okay, which is it? Do you want everyone to, men to be men and women to be hot? Or do you want sex, drugs, and rock and roll? Because I have news for you, but in the 80s, hair metal, they wore not just the big hair, they wore eyeliner, they wore heels, a la Twisted Sister, who wore dresses as well. I mean, seriously, what are you talking about? The not fun party? Okay, I can get that because a lot of people, not necessarily moderate Dems, but maybe a bit more on the left, get offended by anything and everything. Okay, I get that. But how are they not the fun party anymore? When were either party ever considered the fun party? What is this sex, drugs, and rock and roll that you're referring to? Are you wishing that more men sported the JD Vance look of wearing eyeliner? Seriously, what are we talking about? All right, made some of these remarks after receiving a meme that included an image of 82-year-old Connecticut U.S. Representative Rosa DeLauro, a fellow Democrat. Okay. I'm sorry, but you want an 82-year-old woman to be hot. So, when people were making fun of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz being the same age and Tim Walz looking a lot older, you looked at that and said, well, yeah, women are supposed to always look young and hot, but men are allowed to age. Seriously, what? Because she looks like an 82-year-old woman? Because she doesn't look fuckable? See, that's somehow a problem? Again, what the hell is happening here? The remarks came at a moment of escalating political and legislative hostility towards transgender Americans. This is why I said it's trans adjacent. Seeing a Democratic senator who replaced Democrat turned independent bisexual senator Kyrsten Sinema use the same gender policing language deployed by anti-trans commentators has alarmed advocates who say the rhetoric legitimizes narratives that treat gender nonconformity as a cultural defect rather than a cultural rights issue. Independent journalist Erin Reed notes on her Substack newsletter, Erin in the Morning. The revelation about his text also come after months of movement by Gallego away from previously held support for transgender rights. In May, the Advocate reported that Gallego described concerns about transgender girls in sports as legitimate, a shift LGBTQ plus groups warned would empower discriminatory policymaking. Okay, now you guys know my take on this. It's more nuanced. I'm not going to say that trans women shouldn't be in girls' sports, and I'm not going to say that they shouldn't be. They should be, shouldn't be. It depends on the sport, and it should just be about how much testosterone is in your system. Is it within the range that is fair for your competition? Because that's literally used for cis people as well. Cis women, cis men. That's just a standard. They have tests to make sure that everything is fair. So even though it's legitimate, it still doesn't answer the fact that there are trans women who are less strong than cis women because because of the way their bodies react to the hormones. Because, they might not have as much testosterone because, well, most of their testosterone comes from their testes, which they may or may not have anymore. So, is it a legitimate concern? Yes. Is it a concern of politicians? No. No, that should be between scientists and the governing bodies of whichever sport you're dealing with. He later voted for a defense bill containing a ban on gender-affirming surgeries for military personnel. Why? Are we going with the, they shouldn't be in the military because of mental illness? Because if you're considering gender dysphoria a mental illness, again, a great way to alleviate that said mental illness is to let them transition, which includes surgeries. I don't know why this is so hard. In an interview with local ABC affiliate KNXV last week, Gallego confirmed the leaked texts were authentic and said he was heartbroken that a longtime friend shared them. Notice not that he's heartbroken that he was called out. But he did not retreat from their content. I do think we have to be an open and bigger tent party. So we should allow bigots into the party? Is that what you consider to be an open and bigger tent party? Because we have a pretty big tent. We have Nancy Pelosi and we have AOC. So how big do you want? Do you want this to encompass the entire country? So there's only a one party and they have to appeal to literally everybody? Because that is not how politics works. He said arguing Democrats are not as inclusive as they should be. So, bigots. And must expand the tent to allow more people in. Okay, this is the paradox. If you are inclusive of those who are exclusive, if you are accepting of those who are bigots, pretty soon those who are accepting are going to be pushed down by the bigots. I don't know why. He added that the remarks were a reflection of everything I've said. Huh? What remains unanswered is how mocking Democrats' attractiveness or implying the party's struggles stem from insufficient femininity or masculinity aligns with a call for greater inclusivity. Again, he's calling for the inclusivity of bigots. Why he would want to welcome bigots into the party, don't know. Gallego's office did not respond to the advocate's request for comment. Just weeks before the leak, Gallego appeared for a 30-minute onstage conversation with John Lovett at Crooked Media's inaugural CrookedCon in Washington, D.C., where the senator argued that Democrats must communicate more directly with working-class voters. Wait, are we saying that the working class are bigots? Because no. I mean, sure there are some, but, Trump proves that rich people can be bigots too, so. He described his approach to helping people live a good, fulfilling life, emphasizing stability, dignity, and authenticity. Yes, because it's very dignified to lament that your female colleagues aren't hot enough for you. Because you can't look at your female colleagues and get a boner. Seriously, what are we doing? He urged Democrats to show cultural fluency across communities, from lowrider shows to suburban pickleball courts, and to act with more confidence and risk-taking. That interview sounded fine. But in light of these texts, what? I don't understand. Do you have bipolar or something? If we're more liked than the other side, we're going to win, Gallego told Lovett. Exactly. We should be more liked. But how is being a bigot and telling all your female colleagues that they look like dogs? How is that ensuring that you're more liked? I mean, again, you have attractive people in Congress, you have unattractive people in Congress. But to say that all Democratic women look like men? Seriously? Even Sarah McBride, who's literally a trans woman? Seriously, what is happening? What are you talking about? That is the only reason why I'm concerned about Gavin Newsom. I mean, I love how he's taking it to Trump right now, but maybe he thinks that if you invite a conservative guest, you have to agree with him? Because he seems to have turned on trans people, and now this. What the heck is happening in this world? All right, so that is the end of that article. So, yeah. So, the state of gender roles doesn't look good. I mean, it looks good if you're a traditionalist, but it seems like more and more people are acting like, yes, women's only contribution to society is looking hot. And that men need to be men, whatever the fuck that means. I would still love to know what the hell he means, because we have plenty of men who are former service members. We have one who was in that video telling service members that they must decline to follow illegal orders. He's a U.S. Ranger. I'm sorry, he's not former Army Ranger. I'm sorry, how is that not a man? Seriously, what do these statements even mean? And then to look at an 82-year-old and wish she was hot? Seriously, what the hell is wrong with you? She's 82 years old. She does not, number one, even if she wasn't 82 years old, if you don't find her attractive, that's fine. You're not going to find all women attractive. That's perfectly fine. That is not a fault of hers. If you don't find her attractive, fine. It is not her job it is not a woman's job to look fuckable to you. And that's the only way you're going to take them seriously. That's their only contribution to society is looking hot. That is not the way this works. Women don't take men seriously because they're hot. They take men seriously because they have good ideas. Women take women seriously because they have good ideas, not because they're fuckable. I just do not understand where this is all coming from. I mean, I get it that sexists would do that, but Ruben Gallego never struck me as that. And now all of a sudden, he thinks that people will like him and give his ideas a chance if he disparages people that they disparage? I mean, I get that Trump does that, but he does it because he actually believes this crap, not because he's just wanting to be liked, even though it's obvious he wants to be liked. I just don't understand why this turn. It just makes zero sense to me. Anyway, that is all I have for this video. So with that, I will see you guys in the next one.